What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shooky from Shook Earth Media, and today we are talking yet again about Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 6. This episode is called Axe and Grind, and it's another jam-packed episode. There's so much to break down in this episode, so let's just not waste any time and jump right into it. And if you like this video, be sure to like it and sub for more Better Call Saul coverage. So we're going to jump right into the teaser scene. And of course, this show always puts so much into its teaser scenes. They almost put as much in the teaser scene as the whole rest of the episode sometimes. And here we get something unique. We get another period piece flashback scenario. And we get young Kim yet again. We've gotten her before. For those who don't remember, there was a flashback. I forget exactly everything that happened, but we were introduced to her mother before, and she, I believe, got drunk or something, and Kim had to drive home, if I remember correctly. So we've been here before, but here we have an interesting situation because that scene before set up Kim to be a moral person to counter her mother. That was like the implication of the scene. And here we have a scene where Kim was caught stealing a piece of jewelry, and her mother comes in, puts on the show for the guy, that he's chastising her, and that she has a big problem with what Kim was caught doing. And then they leave in the parking lot, and Kim's mom was like, "Wow, I didn't know you had it in you. And here's the earrings. I stole them for you." And that to me was just an incredible continuation and reversal on what we got before. Because before we got something that implied that Kim wanted to be a moral person in response to how her mother acted. And here we have something that contradicts that and makes it more nuanced and complex. So again, of course, we're spending the season catching up on things. We don't know what Jimmy and Kim's plan is. We don't know a lot of things that are happening. We're catching up. I think we're catching up with where Kim is at mentally, what her moral stances on things are, because we had one impression of it, and now we're having another impression of it, and we're really still pulling that back layer by layer. So I really like that opening scene. And one thing I just want to point out, because we haven't talked about it yet, is this intro scene, since it's on the screen, Better Call Saul. These scenes, these little short montage things, these few seconds here for the theme song, they have been repeating since the first season. And if you take a look at each season, the playback, the quality of the video gets very, very degraded. It was degraded a bit to start, but now it's much more degraded. And I think that's a sign of moral degradation, as well as I think it's a sign of Jimmy's future self, Gene, in his house. Because remember, in the pilot, he's just watching old videos of Better Call Saul, his old ads and stuff like that. So he's reliving his old life, living vicariously through these VCR tapes, and I think that this is meant to demonstrate him replaying these memories in his head. And of course, over time, as these things get replayed and replayed and replayed and replayed, they get degraded like this, and they have all kinds of artifacts and issues. So that's something we never brought up on these recaps, so I thought it was, prudent to get there eventually. And here we are with, of course, Howard. And we get to see him get ready for the day. We see his style. We see where he lives, this very extravagant place. And he's brewing himself, or you think he's brewing himself some coffee, but it turns out it's actually for his wife, I suppose, or lady friend. No, he does have a ring on, so it is his wife. I don't remember if we've seen her before. If you guys remember, definitely hit me up in the comments. But she's a little distant from him, and he tries to appeal to her towards the end by letting her know, basically, "Hey, Jimmy, that problem is still going on, and he's spreading lies about me." Because I think he's getting the sense that she's catching wind of the drug addiction, the prostitutes, all these other things. So she's acting kind of cold towards him because he made her a nice latte with a peace symbol on it, and she poured it in a to-go cup because she's trying to get out of there. So I think that's a symbol of the distance between them at this point, and there was a lot of coldness in general, and she only really wanted to talk about business stuff. So and how she wanted to go on her own to a business trip. So he's getting a sense I think he's reading between the lines, but he doesn't have enough proof to come out and say these things, to really go against these claims. So that is what he's setting out to do, and that's getting a little bit into his motivation. So I really appreciate that scene there. Howard is he's actually a good guy. I don't really think he's done anything wrong. From a normal moral perspective, only from Jimmy's subjective point of view, So I like how we look at Howard here, and during this scene when he's getting ready, when he's making the espresso and all that, or not espresso but latte or whatever, I was reminded of Gus. I mean, I remember Gus doing things very methodically, very often, and he's cool, calm, and collected, and I think he has a bit of that in him. So I don't know if that similarity was intentional, but I find it interesting. And now we get an amazingly shot scene, great cinematography in this, and I wonder if they had to recreate this set or not, because they had to recreate some sets from previous seasons. But here we are looking at photos. This is the next continuation of Howard with his private investigator. And here I thought the episode was going to be more of a Howard episode, and we were going to get a lot more stuff of his plan, his counter plan, but there's too much happening in this episode for that. So no, this is it. And I really like this scene. He's got the photos. He thinks he's got something. He knows that Jimmy went to the bank this particular day and got large amounts of cash. And he knows that there's no legitimate reason for that. So he's got a lead. And that's where we leave with Howard. Now we're back with this veterinarian guy who sells drugs. We've had him in previous seasons, and he's got a little black book. He says he's given up the business. He doesn't want to be involved with the not the veterinarian bit. He wants to not be involved with the criminal aspect of his business anymore. He says animals are his passion, and that's what he wants to do. But he's got a little black book that is coded, and I think this is the black book that we saw in the opening teaser of this season. So this is the scene where we see Saul Goodman's house after Breaking Bad that opened the first episode of season 6. I'm making a video right now that will come out next week about how behind the scenes facts of Better Call Saul. One of the behind the scenes facts is that teaser scene, that opening teaser scene, has a bunch of Easter eggs that are only going to make sense after the season is over. We've already had a couple of them, one of them being this black book. So it's a coded black book that has contact information in a coded language. So that's a picture of it right there. And there's a vacuum cleaner. I think that's a reference to the disappearing guy, maybe, because I remember he had a vacuum repair shop, I believe. So, and here we get a great scene of Kim at court defending her client who was pulled over for something hanging from the rearview mirror, and she made the argument that no, the person who was pulled over and the police officer who pulled him over, they have a history, and that this was a targeted thing. And a very smart defense, very well argued, and I think that these scenes have a lot of legal accuracy, and I just love that this show is written by smart people for smart people. That's my favorite thing about this show, guys. So, Maine here, is his name Maine? I forget. Anyways, this guy, he's got, Kim's former employer has an offer for her, and we get more into that later, and that's why he visited her in court, and now we're in Saul Goodman's office, and now it looks a little too professional. And I think it's a little bit off from how we're used to seeing it in Breaking Bad. And of course, I think that's something we're going to see the origins of. As in this episode, Francesca gets very frustrated. So Kim and Francesca have a brief conversation. They haven't seen each other in a while. And of course, Francesca found out about the marriage. So she says congratulations and all this stuff and talks about the register and if they have anything like that. But of course, she doesn't know the truth about their marital situation. That was more of a legal arrangement than anything at the time. But yeah, so I like that. And I think it points out maybe Kim is thinking about the absence, what is missing. Maybe she's thinking about, because especially with this offer that she just got, which is an offer to bring an organization that tries to help people in legal situations and do justice reform type of stuff. She wants to help set that type of thing up. And this is almost like the two sides of herself encapsulated in this one moment. And of course, it's the same day as what they're calling D-Day, which is a big thing in their plan against Howard. It's a big day. Something big is going to happen. I think that's next week's mid-season finale episode. So that contradiction there between wanting to help people with criminal justice reform stuff and wanting to be a criminal. So these two things, she's got at this is the fork in the road episode, and she makes her choice at the end. We will get back to it, but I like this scene touring the new office and seeing how Francesca's all excited about how she's gonna have waterfalls here for peace and tranquility, which comes in at the end, and I absolutely love how it comes in at the end. And we'll get back to it. But we have the film crew people back here again, and I really like them. They're always funny, and I like how it's almost like the Better Call Saul writers making fun of themselves and other filmmakers. So I always appreciate that kind of stuff. It's kind of self-referential humor. So I like them, and bringing them back, it makes sense in this. They're filming something, and Kim informs Jimmy about the deal, and they kiss. She's very excited, and then we get a smash cut to what? To a log splitting. What does that mean? Remember at the end of I think it was a couple episodes ago, when Jimmy first bought the new office building, and they were outside of it, and I said it looks like Kim's rethinking things, and I still think that, and I think this smash cut, they don't write this. I think it was in the script, man. I mean, I couldn't say for sure, but it could be a director choice, which is Giancarlo Esposito, aka Gus. He directed this episode, by the way. Did a fantastic job. Like, wow, love it. But there are no mistakes. There are no accidents in this show. And putting them embracing and kissing, and then them splitting, I think that the fork in the road moment that I talked about, it's maybe the beginning of the end of Jimmy and Kim. That's my theory right now, and it is 100% based on an editing decision, on a smash cut, but there's no accidents in the show, and instantly we're in a different biome than we're used to, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like so yanked out of this, but we're back in Germany, and I absolutely love this scene. Is like a horror movie basically, so I really like this scene. This guy, I did not recognize him at first glance, but I'm assuming that he was in past seasons dealing with the construction project for Gus building the underground lab. And of course, Lalo is the stalker in the woods, and he's here to get more information out of him. And we got a freaky chase scene. I suspect that his gun that he has no bullets in it, because he keeps aiming it. He never fires around. Maybe he doesn't want to draw anybody to him, but he doesn't seem too worried about causing the other guy to scream at the end, as we'll get to. So I suspect that his gun is not loaded. But let me know what you guys think about that theory. But he gets ambushed by this guy he's a moral guy. He doesn't want to kill the stranger, so he hits him with the other side of the axe. If he hit him with the sharp edge and not the blunt edge, things might have turned out differently in the scene. But of course, Lalo pretends to be super hurt, and he's crouched on the ground, and he tricks this guy. He gives him something to look at, and then he like slashes him across the eye with it, and then he takes, oh god, look at this. This is his severed foot. Okay, he takes the axe off him, and wow, it's I watch a lot of like Walking Dead and gross stuff, but that scene, for some reason, maybe it's just the context of a show that's not very violent, but that one, man, oh my god, gross. Okay, and now we're in a familiar sight. I mean, this is Saul Goodman's office waiting room in Breaking Bad. Was very similar to this, so I appreciate them bringing back that energy. There's a guy smoking in there, which sets Francesca off, and she's upset about something. And here we are in the old version, I suppose, of Saul's office, and they go sidebar in the library, which is just out behind the building, which I absolutely love. And they're making a phone call, and Francesca's not comfortable with it. She doesn't want to do anything illegal, which of course must change over time. Jimmy says, hey, I'm paying you 3 times more than the work is worth, so you do stuff like this. Basically the implication of she doesn't like it though, but she does it ultimately. And what it is to pretend that she's the daughter of a Sandpiper related person, a person living at the Sandpiper nursing home that is part of the case, and that there's a meeting coming up and they need to know how to call into it. So they need to dial a certain number and put in a passcode, and now they have all that information. So just gave it away over the phone. And you'd be surprised, man, this stuff works really well. This stuff, calling people on the phone, and if you say the right stuff, you're gonna get a lot more information than you might think from people over the phone. So it was a good scene. I like the dilemma there. And here we're with Mike, and Mike is meeting Tyrus in the basement here. Or I don't know if Tyrus just showed up and Mike just was working here. This is, of course, where the underground lab is. So Gus's lab, of course. And Mike is here with Tyrus, and Tyrus is concerned that they stopped watching Mike's house. They think that Lalo might reappear near Mike's house, and he's asking him why. And he's also saying that there's a certain street, I forget the name of it right now, but there's a certain street, and he's asking, why do we still have guys on that house? Or on that street? And then, we have Mike saying, no, those guys stay, and if the boss has a problem with it, he can call me. And we find out what it is, and it's probably the most tragic scene of the episode, where we got Mike here with his granddaughter, but he's doing it. He's doing the meeting not in person. He's doing it through a window because they're still on lockdown. He's not really able to go about his normal business. He's not. I don't know if he's worried about bringing the danger to them because Lalo knows where he is or is following him or something, or if it's just like he's not able to spend much time with them anyway, so he just had this arrangement kind of set up. He lied to them that he's on vacation, and they do stargazing, and it's a tragic scene, only more tragic after you know how it ends, of course. So now we know the people that Tyrus was saying, why are they watching this house? It is, of course, because this is the whole reason, this is all that Mike really cares about in life, is his granddaughter. So it's the most important thing to him. It's the only reason. He says that the vacation is worth his while, and it's worth his while because he's able to do this, because he's able to interact with his granddaughter, and he's hoping to leave money for her, which we know is an ill-fated errand and very tragic. So this scene, it hit me in the feels, man. It's really not an essential scene, but it feels essential, to really finish Mike's story. That's why we have so many scenes like that with his granddaughter, So here we are with Jimmy and Kim, and I'm looking at this board now. That she's looking at this board. This board is their plan, and it's a lot of clever little pictures that explain all their plans. So here we got the golf course, we got the Kettlemans, we got the prostitute thing, we got I forgot to mention what the vet thing was even about. Jimmy was there getting some kind of drug to make his pupils dilate, presumably to try to give that to Howard at some point. So, pupils getting bigger, that's something that happens with some drugs. So he wanted to make it look like Howard, or whoever is going to be taking this drug. I don't know who it is. Probably Howard. But if it's Howard, he's going to look like he's really bugged out and is going to be saying things that don't make sense, trying to deny what is happening. So, and it's going to probably come off like paranoia. Oh, Jimmy's doing all this stuff, blah, 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 and he's got the big eyes, so it's not going to work. Something like that. So, that's what was going on in the vet. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. But I like this board that they showed this to us, like, early on in the season. And there's, like, no way, without seeing the episodes, knowing what that means. So I really like this. And of course, D-Day is just an explosion. What does that mean? Are we gonna find out what that means? So they decide to go on a beach picnic, a beachside picnic. They got wine. They're celebrating a little prematurely, in my point of view, that D-Day is going to go well. And of course, Kim has her meeting with Maine, so she's not going to be able to be there for D-Day. So her meeting is going to, that's the fork in the road moment that I was talking about. Is she going to go to this meeting? Is she going to go back to Jimmy and see the plan through? But they are outside Hamlin McGill. I hope there's no security cameras here. I think that might be something that causes them an issue if there were security cameras. But that's the boardroom of Hamlin McGill, and they are toasting to their future selves. And here's Jimmy about to buy a bottle of the very expensive, the special cork wine or whatever alcohol that it was. I don't remember. But anyway, he's in line buying that in preparation for this evening when they celebrate. And this is the chance encounter of the century. It is the judge. The film that they were making earlier is of the judge. And we find out at the end that they took pictures that make it look like the judge got a suspicious payment of some kind. If I had to guess, presuming with the money that Jimmy had to take out of the bank earlier, I think that those things tie in. And I think that's what's going on with this guy here. And we don't have very many coincidental happenings on Breaking Bad and stuff like that. So I usually complain about the coincidences too much, but that's because we watch too much Fear the Walking Dead on this channel. But anyways, I love this coincidence, and sometimes things like this happen in life, you know? So I absolutely love it. We recognize him by his mustache, but he has a cast on, and that ruins their plan because their pictures show his arm clearly and it's not broken, and that the picture is supposed to take place recently. So this is going to give them some trouble. And Jimmy calls Kim as she's on her way. She's practicing her pitch for bringing this criminal justice reform organization to New Mexico. And I just want to add that when she's practicing her speech, she doesn't seem very enthused by it. She doesn't even really seem all that into it in the moment. This is supposedly her life stream, what she's wanted to do. She quit her job to do all of this stuff. But when Jimmy tells her about it, she decides, fuck criminal justice reform. I am a criminal. This is the moment, the fork in the road moment. She whips a Yui, which is also illegal, I might add. So another criminal act to add in to, and the fact that she's arguing in court earlier, this all ties in together. It's all a theme. So in court earlier, she's talking about the hanging thing from the rear view mirror of a car, and you can get pulled over for that. In many states, it is against the law. You can get a ticket for it. A lot of states, you're not supposed to get pulled over just for that, but if you get pulled over for something else, you get a citation, etc. Anyways, she says she surveyed the parking lot of the courthouse, and the courthouse, a lot of the cars, including the judge's car, had similar things hanging from the rearview mirror. Kind of the point being that everybody commits some degree of wrongdoing, that there's a certain degree of crime that is acceptable and expected. And that theme kind of ties in with the flashback at the beginning where Kim realizing, or being told essentially that stealing is okay after, having just the normal teachings of life thrust upon her. So this is the fork in the road moment. She made her choice. She's fully a criminal. More, this is further down that road. Why are they doing this? To become richer more quickly? Because they're involved with the case. They get a payment. So they want to ruin Howard for revenge, first of all, and second of all, because if he gets removed off the case, there's a chance they might settle early, and they might get a payment earlier than expected. And they've convinced themselves that they're doing this for the old people because they will get payments, of course, in their lifetime, whereas court cases like this, class action suits, can take a very long time to see through to the end. This moral dilemma, I think Kim's made her choice. But that splitting log, man, I can't forget that splitting log. So something big is going to happen next week. I cannot wait for next week's episode. Sorry, I'm going to go a little bit late on this one. I had a busy day last couple days, so I was not able to. But we will be back next week, Monday, night, of course, and I can't wait for this mid-season finale. And stay subbed because we are doing a special series of Better Call Saul behind-the-scenes facts that I learned listening to their behind-the-scenes podcast. So we are going to have the first episode of that coming out shortly after the following the mid-season finale. We might even do it this week if I have time to edit it. But it's going to be coming out soon, the first episode, which covers episode 1 and 2. And we're gonna do we have 6 episodes here, so we'll do them in groups of 2. So we got 3 videos while the show is on hiatus. I'm hoping to get all 3 of those episodes out before the show returns. That may or may not happen. It's time consuming because I have to do a lot more editing than I usually do for this channel. But I think it's something you guys might like. I'm hoping you like it. It's gonna be interesting stuff. It's basically summarizing the podcast. So if you don't want to spend 2.5 hours listening to it, you can just hear my greatest hits and get it in 20 minutes. So it's going to be fun, and I hope you guys stick around for that. But anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. This was an amazing episode. I hope you enjoyed my analysis and breakdowns of certain aspects of it. I hope to hear from you in the comment section down below of your theories and what I got wrong and all that stuff. I love talking about this show, and I can't wait to see the next episode. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.